What's up, everybody? We're back in the sanctuary today with a good friend of mine, actually former boss of mine, Mr. Matt Gilpin, a.k.a. Gilp. What's up, baby?
What's up,
What's
man?
going on, dude?
What's good, dude?
Thanks for coming over, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
I
man.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
What's been going on, dude? What's new over in the Carmine world? For those that don't know, Matt, you're the foreman at the line department. You have been for like the last 5-6 years now?
Yeah, like four.
Been-
Well, maybe 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah,
Been
since 2020.
doing line work for the city since.
Yeah, 2003.
Hell yeah.
A long time, almost 22 years. So
It's fun shit.
yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like 13 to go.
13 to go.
Yeah, I'm
when
gonna
you're done.
do 35 years, and I'm
Then
gonna
what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna become a full-time athlete. Hopefully.
Full-time athlete. Damn.
I hope so. We'll see what happens though.
Okay.
I should have a lot of free time on my hands other than probably maybe like being like a
Did you guys
grandpa.
get a new bucket truck?
Man, we gotten a brand new one. We got an older one to replace replace one of the older ones that we had. So we actually got more trucks than we got people right now. So
Do you?
yeah,
You guys got anybody new?
no, we never really
still have-
replaced you.
The young kid.
And then we had Jason.
Hey.
Jason quit.
You can push him back.
No, he's good. So
Who quit?
Belford.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When?
So it's probably been like 3 weeks, a month ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
He went to Last Tech.
Hmm.
Sitting there working inside and working 4 days
Yeah.
a week.
410s.
Yeah, I mean,
You're back.
I can't say I blame him there. So
Back. Yeah, I saw, or we had talked that you guys went to the OVC championships. I didn't even know that was going on in Evansville.
actually, I didn't either. I saw it on the news and was looking for something to do because I'm on call the next 2 weekends.
There you go.
So I was like, man, I'd like to find something to do. My wife was sick,
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, take the boy out of her hair for a little while. So I was looking at stuff that's going on in Evansville, and
Yeah.
OVC championship was there, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to, see a team advance and go to the tournament. And
Who was it? Who was playing?
SIUE, which also
Oh,
happens
that's cool.
to be the first time they've ever made it to the tournament.
Really?
Yeah, I think
I didn't know
I
that.
think they've been Division I school for like 17, 18 years or something like that. It's the first time they've ever made the tournament. So
Yeah.
pretty cool.
What did you think of Carmine season?
I think you're probably gonna ask that.
I mean, look, I'm not,
Gosh.
not looking for a dog session on them, but damn, man, what the hell? I was just,
I know, like injury, like Gavin being hurt.
yeah, that sucks.
That
sucks.
That was just a bad deal.
Just, I don't know. It just seemed like not a lot of people wanting to really play a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's
And
weird.
like,
it seems to.
just seemed off.
Yeah.
I heard rumors, all rumor speculation that potentially looking at new head coaches, and that's just all rumors, is all speculation.
Yeah.
I don't know a fucking thing. Just while
Yeah.
we're sitting here talking.
Yeah, I don't know shit either. Obviously, you hear rumors all
Sure.
the time, especially when they have a season like they had.
Yeah.
Man, did you go to any games?
At the beginning,
You're like me.
at the freaking beginning,
You're a lot
and
like me, dude. The energy.
it sucked.
Man,
it was depressing. It was like
just-
they were being forced to be there.
Yeah, I know, and that's, dude. Like if you could go around town, you go to different businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I go to different businesses all the time and do business, whatever.
Right.
Everywhere you go,
Yeah.
everybody.
It was so obvious.
I'm not gonna run anybody down the road, but
Yeah, sure.
It's the same thing. No matter where you go, everybody's talking about the same thing. The effort, and it don't look like anybody wants to be there. And,
I mean, from the top down.
oh yeah,
And
yeah, man, it's just
it all starts, with your top guy, which is your head coach, and it just, body language not always great. Doesn't seem like he always wants to be there, and like I've talked to other people about this, just like it just seemed. I know, as someone that played a lot of sports growing up, if you're playing for a coach that like you feel like you want it more than they do, like no one wants to be there for that.
yeah, and
And I've talked about this on the podcast before. I know it's like
It's
these
tough.
small towns. It's so tough to
It
get
is.
people in there that like.
Yeah, then like I'm thinking, man, like, so I tell like my son, I'm like, watch some of these guys. Like, do you know what bad body language is? He's like, no. So I gotta show him, and I'm
Right.
like, this is the stuff that you never want to do in front of people. Like, you
Yeah.
know, there's people that from Carmine that bleed maroon and white, man, that are just blown away by this last season. You know, way things didn't go, I guess you should say.
You know, and I didn't, especially with Gavin being hurt, and I didn't expect them to win 25 games, but like, I just expected them to be in more games. You know, even some of the losses that you took, you know, you're a guy down, you're two guys down. I get it. So that takes some of those games that might be W's. Now you put a question mark on them, depending on where you're at, who you're playing, who the refs are, and the shitty reffing community of Southern Illinois that it is. It's fucking trash. It's
Oh,
so
man.
bad. It's
Yeah.
the hardest thing in the world to watch, and those guys think like they think they're doing the game a service the way they call that shit over there. Come over and watch one of these games over
Oh,
here and the
yeah.
way they let these kids play and just go at it. It's so different, and that's a whole different. I won't even get off on all that, but just
I think one of your biggest problems in Carmi, and me and my future son-in-law talk about this all the time, is that like you don't like back when I was younger, there was coaches in middle school that coached middle school that were there for years and years and years. Your wife probably say the same thing,
yeah,
and they kind of set like the fundamental foundation.
sure,
Now you don't really have that. You have like a kid's dad, a coach come in, coach him for that year, and then he quits, and you know he might try to apply for the next year, and then next year it's the next guy.
yeah,
You just don't have any kind of fundamental foundation. I think is what it stems from. I know obviously, if you're at the high school level, things need to be, you know, things need to be in a right place by the time you get to high school.
sure, yeah, yeah, and that's see, I didn't have that. I mean, in high school because my junior high coach in junior high obviously is the same guy that's the junior high coach now. Jimmy Goebel, guys won a shit. I think he just won like 500 games this season with my little cousin playing on that team. Shout out to them. That's a third place at state team this year.
Yeah,
They only lost like 2 games or something. They're going to be awesome to
They
watch.
are. They're going to be really good.
And my mom sent me a picture. My 7th grade year, we got second at state, and they got our trophies sitting right beside each other in the trophy case at the grade school.
Cool.
And so yeah, shout out my little cousin Avon and that team. They were fun to watch. But so I had Goebel all through junior high, and you know there were times that people didn't always agree or think he was like the best coach. But like I will say, at the end of the day, like the guy was always like putting his 100% into it.
Oh,
And
yeah,
even
sure.
if you didn't agree with him or like, you know, there was a lot of talk back then of whatever. But sometimes people didn't agree with him and whatever. But the thing was, he was always there, and he was always like top energy. He was always like in practice. He was, he wasn't somewhere else. Like
Yeah, sure.
he was there, and you can't ask for more than that at these small town levels. You can't ask for more than that in some of these coaches. And then like I get to high school, and the head coach just left, so we got a new head coach my freshman year. A guy come down from around Springfield.
Is that the guy that ran the like offense where you guys are like?
No, so that was my senior year.
Okay.
So this was Coach Gravens. That was my freshman, sophomore, and junior year. I had a great relationship with him. I became really close with him. And then, so he leaves my junior year. After my junior year, he leaves, and then we get a new guy senior year. So, like, it was changing pretty much from
tough.
8th grade to freshman. And then a couple years the same, and then mixing it all back up again senior year.
I remember you guys were pretty tough, weren't you? 'Cause I remember hearing your name quite a bit.
Oh,
Back then.
like, I always tell people, like, we competed.
Yeah.
Like, we win. I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but like probably maybe not 20, right below 20 games, average around there. I mean,
Right.
not and like the team, there were a lot of games that we lost that were really close, really good games. So,
Yeah.
Grant EHT, we had to show up and go play for like Owensboro or something like that. We did.
Yeah.
Only got beat by like 20 or something. It wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
But no, we were all right. Like I said, we competed.
Man, if you got guys that are willing to try hard, put out the effort, and compete, it's a small town. A lot of times, that's the only thing you can ask for.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that, yeah, like kind of like going back to where we started at with like how it kind of starts at the top. Even though the systems that I was in, it did always seem like it was kind of changing. I did always have coaches that loved the game. Like, and to this day, I still speak with him.
oh yeah, for sure.
I just helped, one of them with a little meal plan. And then another one that we still talk hoops and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, we didn't really have like that old school foundation that like some of these schools, kind of have. But, I was always fortunate to have guys that really love the game. And that makes all the difference, I think.
For sure. We had Denny Anderton. I don't know if you remember him or not, but he coached middle school basketball in Carmine for, I'd say maybe 20 years, maybe something like that. He was kind of, he was kind of goofy at times, but like, man, he cared.
I think he was still coaching whenever I was, I think in junior high. I think he was coaching junior high. I think I remember he had the slick back hair.
Man, as long as you, as long as he wore like super short shorts and he would like put his hand on your shoulders. He had like the coldest hands in the world. It's weird. I don't know. But anyway,
he's had some cold hands on him.
Man, it was weird.
Damn.
Anybody watches this that had him,
Yeah. What's up, Danny? What's wrong with them hands, Danny? That's weird. That's wild.
Anyway, man, if you just worked hard,
yeah,
man, I mean, he would ride certain people that were dipshits, but
sure,
man, if you worked hard and you did the things that you're supposed to do the right way, and man, as far as like fundamentally, I mean, there's so many things that he taught us that he's like, you're gonna remember this for the rest of your life, and simple stuff that I still use like with my kid now,
yeah,
just somebody that cared, when I see him, which isn't very much because he lives in Harrisburg.
Oh, okay.
But we still talk when I see him and stuff like that. So,
yeah. That I can't say that I didn't have that. That's not true because we still had all through my high school career. We had Jack Johnson as an assistant coach. Jack's a legend.
Yeah, he's been around there for forever.
He was a junior high legend, 500 plus wins. I think in junior high, I believe it was. Yeah,
I remember hearing his name a bunch when I was younger, but I never really knew who he was. But
and he like going through high school, I was kind of a little wild boy sometimes, and
sure.
Had like other outside stuff going on, like outside of sports that I would let affect sports sometimes, and like get in my head, relationships and all those kinds of silly things you go through at a young age. And Coach Johnson was always like the one that he was that guy that like whenever he walked in the locker room, it'd go quiet, and he didn't have, and like whenever he would walk in, everyone went quiet. You shut up,
sure.
And like he didn't have a lot to say, and he wasn't gonna say a whole lot, but like what he was gonna say was like worth listening to.
Yeah.
And like sometimes it wouldn't always make sense. You have to like think on it. And you're like, what the fuck? Like what was that?
Oh, yeah.
Then you think about it, and it starts to make sense. But he, I always had that relationship with him of whenever I was kind of in those moods, he, the snap of the fingers and the glaze across the court. Look at like, yes, sir. And or he just. I think it's so important to. Everyone thinks that coaching, you should just yell, and be on the kid's ass, and like I think there's a place for that, but I think there's a huge, like, really crucial part of like being a coach and like talking to your players like human beings and like that kind of connection.
Yeah.
Of like the I got your back, like you can trust me type of thing.
Oh, for sure. Then your players will run through they'll run through a brick wall for you.
Run through a wall for you.
Like
Doug Miller, I think, is a great example of it.
Right.
Doesn't matter. I watched him take that Gallatin County team that was not that great, and he runs them to a sectional or something insane, like the wildest run. Seth Ramsey goes crazy that year.
Yeah.
all because those kids would run through a wall for him.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's that's awesome. It's kind of like when I was coming into my freshman year, Brad Lee was still the head coach. He just took his team to state tournament and whatever, and Brad was kind of intimidating too. So we come into like summer workouts and stuff. I mean, you on the straight and narrow, and not only that, you knew that he's obviously a really good coach, and you want to impress him and stuff. So, like one of my biggest claims of fame is, like the guys they call the Four Horsemen from Carmine that led the team to state, the four seniors. They needed a fifth in like a summer pickup game, and I got to be the fifth. Dude, and I balled out
Balled out.
my mind that day. It was like one of the best days.
Where at? Where was
like,
he playing
just
at?
like an open gym at the high school against other like other high school kids.
Oh, okay.
And man, it was crazy. I just balled out.
Did you play?
I played up until my freshman year.
So at that time you weren't even playing. You just showed up and
Well, I was playing.
balled out and dipped.
I played. That was the summer between my 8th grade and freshman year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Earlier on.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was big into sports until I started driving, and then I had more important things to do, like chasing girls and
Right.
racing cars and stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typical.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was I think definitely forming that relationship um and I think that it's a problem that you do run into again in these small town areas where they're not getting paid a ton of money to be there.
Yeah.
It's like it's not the highest level of athletics in the country, and it can be probably a little frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I can understand that for sure.
Whenever you watch some of those games with your son MJ,
Yeah.
and you're talking about like body language, and you're kind of seeing things that you wouldn't really want to see your son do. What are you looking at?
A lot of times, like we'll go like if we're watching a game, I'll tell him like, this is why you don't do that, or this is why you don't do this, or this is why you do that. I just told him like, because of bad body language, I'm like, do you know what that is? And he's like, no. And I'm like, man, it's like with your head down, your coach is talking to you, you act like you don't really care. Just try to make sure we nip that in the bud right now, which I think he'll be fine. He loves to compete.
Yeah.
Dude loves. I mean, he hates to lose with a passion, but almost too much right now to where like he's super emotional. They get way down, and we're working on it, man. But you can work with that, dude. You can't work with a kid that's not competitive and make him be competitive. You can work with a kid that's super competitive to have control as he gets older, because he's starting to mature and stuff. So,
well, he don't have any control.
Yeah,
I barely have any.
Yeah,
I'm still figuring out control.
Yeah, I hear you.
I that's a really good point though. Like, a kid that just doesn't want it, and if it's not for your kid or whatever, then that's fine. I'm not like saying your kid has to play sports, but just coming from a perspective of like someone that's pretty big into it, if they don't want to do it, it's like anything else. If they don't want to do it, you're just not going to do it.
Now, a prime example is that's my daughter, really good softball player when she was younger, but I probably loved it more than she did. I mean, she did. I mean, if we went to a game and we lost by 20 or won by 20, she didn't care as long as she got to hang out with her buddies and stuff. So
yeah,
so it's all about, I guess, I love sports just because of the fact of what it teaches you, man. I mean, it teaches you so much about life. Whether it's discipline and accountability and teamwork. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, it's
toughness.
It's especially if you really love the game and respect it, and you want to play it the right way, and it's a whole different level of patience. I know that like in junior high, I had a really bad temper whenever it came to sports, and I would punch things, and I would just.
Gosh, I know.
I'd be so out of my mind. I'm surprised I didn't have like fractured hands because I would just punch the bleachers. I would just be so mad, and always just so mad at myself because I wanted that shit, and I felt like I wanted it more than everyone else, and so it pissed me off whenever other people would like excel maybe over me or whatever the case was, and that's not a great way to look at it. But like at the end of the day, like I just, I wanted it, and so whenever I, again, kind of going back to watching to watching Carmine, and you see guys that don't really seem to be like that into it. Don't like, I just want to get up and leave.
And what
'Cause I'm
sucks
just
is,
like, dude, I would put your jersey on right now.
I know that's what sucks about it is like here in a few years they'll regret that. Like that's what sucks. But you can't tell nobody that.
No,
I
it
mean,
doesn't make any sense.
You're not gonna, it doesn't. They're not gonna listen. I wouldn't have listened either,
No.
But I also wouldn't just halfway play a game if I was playing either. But that's just me. So
Right.
so
Yeah, because I have too much pride for that.
yeah.
Even if I don't like the game, I will not be made to look like a fool.
I know.
I take it too personal.
I
I
know.
can't, and that's still a problem that I deal with today.
And now they're all like recorded and stuff. Like
and now you're on 4K everywhere you go.
yeah. So I'm like,
every time you
yeah, man. I don't know.
every time that poor attitude kind of over pours and into your actions, and it's recorded.
I've never like I told my wife this I don't know how many times. Like I've never seen a team like that. Like I've never seen a team have the problems that they have. It's weird, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they said it was like just a didn't want to be there, and hell, I don't know. Did you ever? I heard they just fired that Mount Carmel coach mid-season, Carpenter. He was like a couple years younger than me.
Yeah. Man, somebody told me why, and I can't remember why, but I don't remember. But yeah,
I don't know. I know Tyler Buzz is out there roaming around somewhere looking for a job.
That's what they say. That's what they say, man. I don't.
Oh, he's gonna have to take a look at you. I won't even go yet.
It's just what they say.
Yeah.
That's what they say, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's all just speculation and
Yeah.
rumor. It just seems it's just it sucks. It's frustrating. I talked them up a lot before the season to a lot of different people.
Oh yeah, I mean I heard you on here too, and like
Yeah.
I mean there was a lot of buzz about.
Whenever I still lived in Carmel, I played with those guys on Sundays.
Yeah, I remember you talking about.
And like they're good kids, and like in there on Sundays where they're not the same kids that you would go see play on a Friday night.
Man, I have a couple of friends that I grew up with like that. That could, man, we had an open gym or something. One of my friends was, he's 6'4", 6'5". He just dunk on everybody. But when he played like organized basketball, man, it was just different. I don't know.
I blame the coaching. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to just keep putting that out there, but the reason I've like come to form this opinion is living over here now and watching these guys and these coaches. Again, I know they're probably being paid a lot more money. It's a lot different. I get it, but still, like, they love it. And I believe that if they still weren't getting paid what they're being paid, I think they would still love it the same.
I'd say you're probably right, yeah.
And to see the relationship those players have with their coaches, I mean, they come off the floor, and sometimes you'll see them, and it looks like the coaches and the players are yelling at each other, and they might be a little bit. But you see 5 minutes later where they're, hugging it out, and, like, it's not like a disrespect thing. It's like they both love that shit so much, and they both want it, and they know that it's a respect thing that I'm sure they developed over years of hours in the gym together. But you just see that passion, and they say you go over there and watch those games, and it's like no one wants to even be out there playing, and you're like,
man, I don't know. It's the craziest thing. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I was telling you about when we went to the OVC championship. One of the things I was I had him notice was how much like when they were warming up, everybody's just like hugging each other, and I mean how much they love each other, and not only that, how much they were getting after, and just in the warm ups and the energy.
It's very intentional.
Oh man, it's intentional, and it's you feel it.
Yeah,
like, man, both teams were like that. And I told NJ, I'm like, this is gonna be a hell of a game, and it was. But man, SIUE, they have a guard. His name's Rayshawn Taylor. He was OVC Player of the Year. He's really good, and they got some good bigs.
Do they play Evansville?
No, I don't think they do.
No, who do they play who do you watch them play?
SEMO.
SEMO.
Yep. He was pretty tough, but man, it just come down to the bigs. I mean, they're blocking shots. I know they probably won't win like their first round game. But I'd be real interested to see who they get matched up with because I think they will give them somewhat of a game.
Yeah,
because they're big. They got one guy that's like 7'2", and he is really good around the bucket, and he blocks everything. So.
Yeah, we went and watched U of E a couple times and USI a couple of times, and it like the way I describe it is like you watch them warm up and get ready pregame. It's like they're preparing to go to war.
Yeah,
that's how I describe it.
Yeah.
Like it's intense. Everything they're doing is fundamental. It's with a purpose. It's intentional. It's not like, oh, we're out here warming up, like step back threes and like all this. No, they're making real game time moves. The stretching is serious. Like they're serious. They're really That's why you don't see these guys getting injured all the time because they're really taking care of it. And I get it. It's a Division I, of course.
Drenched in sweat, just covered in sweat already.
Before the game even starts, everyone's out of breath before the game starts.
Yeah,
and that's what it feels like watching high school over here. It's like those kids, and a lot of them they're playing for their life, and you can see it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
They're playing to get out of situations that they're in. Yep. They're playing to not have to go back to the way they're living now. They're playing to get into college because they don't have the chance of getting into college just based off of where they come from or their financial situations and the one chance they get to get into that school is to hoop like your fucking life depends on it.
Yeah.
And you see it, and they go out there, and it's 1 through 5, man. It's every single guy on the floor. There's not a guy out there that's not playing like his life depends on it.
Did Harrison end up beating Wrights? Did I hear that?
Yep.
That's what I thought I heard.
Yeah. So we watched Harrison play earlier in the year, and they did not have this kid. He had to be 6'7", probably 240, just a big kid. And they didn't have him. He had a big ass knee brace on in that game, so I guess he's probably been out torn something. And I didn't know they had that kid, so I was like, not thinking much of it. Would show up, and I see that kid warm up. I'm like, damn, he's big as hell. Like I don't remember him. And Harrison was in their ass on the defensive end from start.
They were at home too.
Finish. Right? They were at home.
Yeah.
Wrights had a bigger crowd.
Really?
For sure. Brad Underwood was there.
Really?
Sitting right under the bucket.
Nice. The kid from Wrights, the sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was there.
Yeah, I got a video of him. I'll show you real quick. Yeah, he was sitting right under the bucket. No,
how big is that kid?
Which kid's that?
The kid from Wrights. MJ was asking me the other day. I was like, I'm not sure.
6'7".
Okay, I think I said 6'5". I knew he was.
Yeah. 6'7". He's got a little fro. He looks like he's got 6'9".
You're right.
Yeah, he kind of disappeared in the third quarter. Wrights went probably 4 or 5 minutes in that third quarter without a bucket, without a field goal. That really hurt them. And around that time, they were leading, not by much. It was pretty back and forth. They go a couple minutes. Harrison gets to the free throw line a couple times. Next thing you know, they're up 6. Wrights was just out of sync offensively. Like I said, Harrison was in on defensively all game. Start to finish. I mean, every time their shooters caught the ball, I mean, they're in your waistband, dude, right there on you. And Jalen had a tough night. They was all over him. He got 25 or something. But a real quiet 25.
Isn't it funny how good players like that, just a quiet 25? I remember watching E.J. Liddell play in high school.
Yep.
They barely beat the team they were playing. He had 32, but just didn't seem like it was crazy.
Right.
Just because he's just so good that he's still going to get his.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we were talking about whenever I'd messaged you about coming over here. You have recently, in the last 5 years, 4 to 5 years, about the time whenever I was working around that time, I was still working in Carmine.
Yeah.
I think it was around the time you kind of started to take up. It was kind of light running, and before that, you weren't really doing too much.
No, dude. About 3 years ago, it was the fall of 22. Yeah, before then, dude, I wasn't doing much anything. I'd be active, maybe in my garage doing something, I don't know, but nothing.
Right.
Along with eating like shit and drinking all the sodas and
Yeah.
you name it. But anyway,
Cheers.
anyway, the my daughter was getting ready to go to basic training in the Army in like a couple months or like 3 months before, and I was like, hey, you want to start running a little bit? She's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, I could use to get in a little bit better shape too, because previously I went to the doctor and I was like borderline high blood pressure, and man, I don't know if we've ever had this talk, but I know you probably feel the same way, but I am like big against like having to take pills. Like,
yeah.
So I grew up with a dad who was addicted to painkillers. Ultimately, probably you could say that mostly probably took his life. So I'm like huge, like, oh my God, dude, I'm freaking out that I'm gonna have to start taking something.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, we'll start running. So we started out just running like quarter mile.
Yeah.
Walk, quarter mile. The next week we bumped it up a little bit more and kept bumping it up. And then when she left, I just kept running because it made me feel better. Like if I was out there suffering, knowing that's like what she was going to be doing,
right?
It just made me feel better. And then I just kind of just kept doing it. And I was like, man, this actually, I know as crazy as it sounds, I'm like actually going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so then I decided that I was going to do a race that December. And
what was your first race?
I ran the Santa run here in Evansville.
Mm-hmm.
About almost close to 3 years ago.
So, yeah. How long was that one?
It was just a 5K.
Yeah.
Which at the time, though, dude, I had never.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like a marathon. And if a lot of people that don't run think that probably is a marathon.
Right.
Which, it's not no joke, I guess, but
yeah,
it was funny though, because it's funny to look back at it now.
How many races have you ran in total now?
Oh man, I don't know. 20 or 30.
Damn, it's cool to hear you say you ran in that many, because like I said, I remember like whenever you started, and like so I remember kind of like watching you get that hunger for it, and I kind of had that like front row seat to watching you to fall in love with it, and to see now you've run 20 or 30 races, and then you just got back from a big one not that long ago out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, man. So me and one of my good buddies I went to high school with, he just got into running like 4 months ago, maybe. Like 6 probably now. And I told him, I was like, hey, he lives in Florida. I was like, hey, when you do your first race, I said, call me and I'll come and do it with you.
Yeah.
I'll come to Florida in the wintertime any day, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, no doubt.
So he's like, well, I got some vacation days I got to use up. He's like, I'm thinking about taking a trip somewhere. And I was like, well, where do you want to go, And because I was like, your only warm places right now are like South Texas, Arizona, Southern California, and Vegas. And so we just looked at different races, and we found the one in Vegas. And man, a couple days later, we booked the trip, went out there, ran 10K. I haven't been sick in like 3 years. And the week of the race, I guess I got COVID or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was bad.
Damn.
So that whole week, I'm in like steam rooms trying to get all that out and doing all the things to try to get healthy.
Yeah.
And we go out there. We flew out there on a Friday. We were racing on Sunday. We went, the day before a race, you take what's like a shakeout run. They call it. It can be like a mile or 2 or 3, and just kind of get the nerves and kind of get your legs right. And it felt terrible.
Yeah.
It's the worst run I ever had in my life. Then I was like, man, I paid all this money to come out here to run this race. I'm running a race tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I felt really good.
How long was it?
A 10K, so 6.2 miles. And I felt really good before the race. Different race than I've ever done. There's 30,000 people.
Damn.
Yeah. So like you
got all the categories?
Yeah.
Or
between the 10K and a half marathon.
Excuse me. So you run. Oh, okay. Between the 10 and you ran all at the same time.
Yep.
And then
there's like a
age
point.
groups or something, or how does that work?
Yeah. So almost every race has age groups, whether it's every 10 years or every 5 years. This one was every 5 years, I think. So it was 40 to 44.
Does that make it more competitive? Can you tell the difference if it's a 10-year age group or a 5? Are you like, fuck?
Man,
Like, like I guess kind of what I'm thinking in my head is like if it's 5 years, like that's closer to your age, probably maybe a little closer to the shape you might be in.
yeah,
I
and
don't know if that's even how it works.
It's easier to win your age group when it's just 5 years instead of 10 usually. Because like when I was 39,
Right.
I got beat in a race. I got second in a race twice to a kid that was 30, and I was 39.
Damn.
So that was tough.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. But so anyway, I ran the race, and afterwards I felt real bad. But
What's the post recovery routine? 'Cause I don't know much. So let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
What So whenever you started running, you were what, 30?
I was 38.
38?
Yep.
So 'cause after I had texted you the other day and I was talking to you, I was like, talking about people getting into fitness, in like the middle stage of their life, and afterward, I was like, damn, I hope I didn't think I'm like calling them old or something.
No,
I was
no.
like, it's just like, it's
yeah.
it's cool to, I don't know, I guess to see people, 30s, 40s, 50s kind of find
Oh yeah.
fitness and to see it. And you see it a lot over here, especially like the older people.
And as well as I do, like it doesn't matter when you start.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's just a matter that you do start.
What's the biggest obstacles you faced, like physically? Let's say someone in their mid to late 30s that like you got into running long distances.
Recovery.
Yeah. How long?
Yeah.
Days?
Or
are you like ice bath immediately right after type of person? Or
I usually like to, or like if like sauna's available.
Yeah.
Or I also have like the compression boots. I also go to PT and having heat. I get stretched out like once a week.
Yeah.
So like running at this age is good, and I tell my wife, like, even though all the money I'm spending on like recovery and shit, that it's still cheaper than me like taking pills and being unhealthy and overweight.
Yeah.
I don't know if it.
Well,
but
the way I look at it is like, money's always going to be getting spent.
Yeah.
So
for sure,
if the money is being poured into your overall health and
yeah, and there's a lot worse hobbies I could be doing than
absolutely. That's what
fitness.
Yeah, there's way more worse things you could be spending money on and spending your time doing than running and recovery and all those kinds of things. I need to get into one of those stretch labs. I wanted to do like the real like the body tissue, like the sculpting shit. I want to try something like that.
Yeah, so I used to go to stretch lab here in Evansville, and then man, it was just a pain, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So my I tried. Well, the first year I started running, I did a half marathon, and I was injured.
How far is a half marathon?
13.1. But I was already injured trying to be in Goggins. Like, dude,
is that how it starts? Is that how it has to start for people that get into running? Just one day they stumble across David Goggins on the internet screaming about some fucking boats or something, and you just feel yourself rising up out of the chair. Yeah. And it's like Forrest Gump is like, next thing you know, you're just like running down the road.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was watching too many Goggins videos, and I was hurt before I ran the half marathon. Yeah. So I spent 3 months in PT. It was bad.
Regret that one.
Yeah. Huh? So then they started the stretching program. So that's how I switched from stretch lab to just I can do it in Carmine.
Where's that at?
Joiner Therapy.
Oh, okay.
Lucas Matzel.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Gotcha.
We got. He's like.
Shout out
he's like
Lucas Matzel.
He's like one of my good friends now. We run together too. He just had a really nice. He ran the Evansville half last year. Had a really nice time. I was going to tell you something about that race in Vegas real quick.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel good. Ran the race anyway. Didn't finish like I wanted to.
Right.
But man, I just honestly after it was over, I just was thanking God that I was able to finish it because I wanted to die by halfway through it and quit. Like I was fighting with myself to quit. Like, hey, you're 2,000 miles away from home. Nobody gives a shit.
No one's watching.
Nobody's watching. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Just quit. And I didn't, so that was really cool. But the coolest thing is this was awesome. This is probably the biggest W the whole weekend. My friend Tony that has only been running for 6 months, he finished in 42 minutes, smoking.
Yeah.
Smoking fast. After the race was over, he came up to me because I don't know if you saw the magazine that me and Brad and Trevor were in. health magazine.
I don't
from
think
work.
so. No.
So yeah, and then I posted that story online,
Yeah.
and my friend Tony saw it, and that's when he got into running. And after the race was over, he came up to me almost crying, thanking me how much I changed his life
Hell yeah.
and how much I inspired him. So like, man, I remember when we got back to the hotel, I was in the shower just crying. I mean,
Yeah.
I never really planned on inspiring anybody or anything like that. So man, that was cool.
Yeah. No,
That
I
was
think
cool.
yeah, you're definitely definitely. I know because I feel like ever since there was other people running like around Carmine. Then I feel like once you got into it, I know you like got a group of people
Yeah.
together, and
Yeah, I've met some. That's another cool thing about it, man. Is I've made some awesome friends so far. I mean, the people you meet in fitness have a lot of the same goals as you.
yeah,
And man, I got some relationships now that I'll probably have for the rest of my life, which is with some really good people.
definitely.
So it's awesome.
Yeah, I've made a lot of connections in the gym and met a lot of really great people. It's nice to just be around, just people with just similar goals and interests,
Yeah.
and that kind of have that same mindset as you. Yeah. Do you? So do you just got back from that race? Do you have races lined up in the future?
I do, man. So we're going to Florida over spring break to get on a cruise, and there is a race in Miami the morning of right before we get on the ship. I'm probably going to do it. It's just a 5K, but I'm in the middle of training for the River Relay right now. So
That's a big one, isn't it?
oh, it's awesome.
Have you done that one before?
I did it last year for the first time.
Is that? Tell me about that. I don't know.
So it's 80-mile race
Mm-hmm.
from the Mississippi River over by like Wolf Lake, Illinois, to the Ohio River in Golconda, Pope County. 80 miles, 8 people. Everybody runs around 10 miles.
Yeah.
But it's like you run 3 miles, and then the next guy goes. You run.
Okay. So you're not running 10 in a row?
No, so you're running. You're running anywhere from like 2.5 to 4-ish every time.
So I mean, you're moving through pretty quick.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not that long.
Dude,
It probably is a lot quicker than people think.
It is like we were in the van. I think somebody said last year for like 17 hours. By the time because we had to leave at like 3 in the morning, we didn't get back till 8 at night or whatever.
Right.
However many hours that is.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
Like it's fun. The people that we have done it with a lot of them are hilarious.
Yeah.
Good time. And you think like people are like, man, how do you like run and then sit and then run again? But man, it goes by so fast. It doesn't even feel
It's
like
better if you're locked in.
Yeah.
And you're just.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's tough too because it is. I mean, it's just
Right.
all day long, dude.
Yeah. I find it interesting, like what you were talking about, like your kind of reservations towards like taking pills and like just stuff that you've been through. You said like with your dad. Is that like is that still like something that worries you today?
Oh, dude, there's no doubt. I've been.
So you never had the addictions or never
No, man,
you never had anything.
So I've seen a lot of bad stuff as a kid that I wouldn't wish for anybody to ever see. And man, instantly a lot of that stuff, like I mean, I don't like you talk about how you don't drink anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink anymore, not for really any specific reason other than just it doesn't really go with what I'm trying to do now.
Sure.
Yeah. And not only that, I don't like to be hungover.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's something I never don't think about, man, because I went through a lot with that deal. I've never had any addictions like that. I think it just instantly, even like smoking like cigarettes and stuff, just instantly just being around it my whole life. And I mean, I've seen a lot of bad things like from alcohol, like addiction,
Mm-hmm.
and then like with my dad, man, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was real rough. I don't know how to say this exactly, but when he wasn't like when he was like clean for just a little while, which would only be like in the middle of the month because he was on fixed incomes. He got hurt at work and he got addicted to painkillers, and it just escalated. But like, man, he was a great dad, which wasn't a whole lot when he was clean, but man, there were some rough times there.
Yeah. That I think it was Jelly Roll made that comment. You know, he's like, I've never met an addict that doesn't light up a room sober. You know, and that's and the reason I was like kind of asking that question is because I feel like you see it a lot in endurance athletes. Yep. It seems like there's some sort of connection a lot of times with these endurance athletes, these long, whatever it is that they do, long forms of cardio.
Yeah.
A lot of them seem to have backgrounds of addiction. A lot of addicts, recovering addicts, that you see have stories of getting into endurance training.
Yeah, as you like you say that, you see a lot of stuff online about how that correlation. And I think a lot of it has to do with is like no matter what I do, like physically endurance wise, will never be as bad as some of the stuff that I had to go through as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I never like physically, nothing ever happened like that. It was just emotional, mentally, that kind of just trauma type.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that stuff has a big correlation because you could, no matter, I could go run, eventually I would like to do an ultra, which is anything over 26.1 or 26.2. Even in that, wouldn't even touch the surface of some of the stuff I've been through. So, I would like to push it there at some point too. So,
right. Yeah, as someone that has struggled with addiction with alcohol, I find that I never got into like the endurance stuff. It doesn't. I'd rather, I wanted to be like big and jacked, and like that was my goal.
Absolutely.
And I've talked about this like with Bali before, and she's like, I don't know if that's how it works. But there's like a part of me that whenever I go into the gym and train, it's like my way of like almost like how am I trying to say it? It's like a way I'm like punishing myself. It's like I have a weird connection with like the gym and like this physical, like my mind, my body, all this stuff with like the way I view God and like religion.
Sure.
And the way I think like God is more so like the power of the universe type of thing. And like the more you put into this life, I really think that's like what you're going to get out of it. And so in the gym, I have that connection of like, I deserve this. I'm going to go in here and like kill my body for the next hour and a half. And it's almost like my way of like sacrifice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say.
Like, I don't know how else to like, to sacrifice or like to show my whatever. Well, I don't even know how I'm trying to word it, but I have a weird connection with that, like in the gym of like, this is my way of like.
And it's good that you have that, because man, a lot of people have problems finding that. Mm-hmm. And I know you've always been big into fitness and stuff, so having that as a tool to help you get through that, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a tool. It's like it's like a way to like repent or like say like I'm sorry like for my sins in a weird way of like I'll go in here and like destroy myself every day to like.
I see what you're saying.
And I don't know, I kind of just held on to that, and that's what it's like. Even on the days where I get up and I don't want to go in there, I don't want to train, and then it's like no, like you have to, like you deserve what you're about to get in that gym. Like
it's funny how you get to that point though, because like I find myself like now, like for instance this morning, dude, I did not want to get up. I did not want to go run this morning. I did not want to do sprints like speed work stuff.
Yeah.
You just like when it becomes a part of your life, you just go do it. And as much as I hated it, I was glad I got it done. And like they always say, like if you ever went to the gym and regretted that you went to the gym, no, never. You will regret not going.
Right.
So that's cool.
Yeah, it Yeah, finding that, because like I said, I battled with that. I felt like I had to like find a way to like serve a purpose. You know, I think that's a big thing in like in addicts recovery is like trying to just like find that purpose. And it's like I don't know what else I can offer,
Sure.
other than this.
Sure. Well, I'm proud of you, dude. I know I've already told you that.
I
That's
appreciate it.
awesome, man.
I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Um,
I know how very real that stuff can be. I mean, I've been around it, unfortunately, a lot, and so my hat's off to you, for sure.
yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, on the days that really suck, or the days that, alcohol maybe slips through my mind again or whatever, I just, look around, or the days where I'm like, oh, my life, I don't want to do this or whatever it is. And I'm like, no, I'm like, there were days that you were begging for this.
Yeah.
Like, you remember the days that you asked for this.
Absolutely.
Like, you asked for this. This is what you wanted.
Absolutely.
Like, you picked this. It was your decision. And, like, there were days that you were on your knees praying to be where I'm at sitting here right now.
Absolutely, man. I tell myself that all the time, and it's hard. Sometimes you get just stuck in like going through the motions.
Yeah.
And something I've really tried to work on these last couple of years is not going through the motions every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I send me and my wife send each other like stuff online all the time. Not too long ago, I sent her this thing that said like, where you're at right now is where you dreamed of being.
Yeah.
And I need to realize that more times than not, probably.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, would probably love to have my life, And
Sure.
so I've really been trying to work on not take things for granted like that and not go through the motions. But man, it's not easy.
I've been having this like weird, it's like reoccurring in my life right now, and we're talking about it again, and it's about like just being intentional. And then, so that's been on my mind a lot heavy lately. I felt like I just spent so many years in cruise control.
Oh man, I hear you.
And just like doing what I had to do to get by, and just
Oh, yeah.
doing what people expected, and that was it. And like I just let so much opportunity and time and just chance just pass me by over and over because of whether it was fear or just like I said, just not caring or whatever the case was. And then I went to a Jordan Peterson lecture last Sunday.
Yeah, I saw you post something about that.
And which he's like big in, he was like talking about a couple books out of the Bible. And then, but then he was just he started getting into, and he again used the word intentional about just life. And he's like just going on about like asking someone why whenever he talks to people, and someone will come up to him and they're like, you really changed my life, this, that, he's like, well, why? And they're like, well, and they're like, well, I wasn't really expecting you to ask that. And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, why? And his point being of just like, he played out this whole scenario where he kept asking why, and then like someone would answer and why, and he kept going and kept going. And like at the end, he was in such a deep answer. This person that just like completely opened up and not even realized, like, he's like, you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, do you? And I was like, that's fucking scary. I was like, how many people are out there right now? Like, you ask them why. Like, why do you go to work every day? Like, okay, to get a paycheck. Why? Why do you need a paycheck? Well, I got bills to pay. Why do you care to pay your bills? And like, just listening and break that down over and over and over. And then again, just reaffirming on the point of being intentional and like really like being intentional. Like you think you're being like, are you really being intentional every day? And